Welcome everybody today to our 2025 mentorship info session and panel. And I'm so excited to have four of our previous mentees who've agreed to come back and talk to you all today. My name is Roxanne Fenton. I am the Associate Director in Creative Careers. And before we get to the panel, I am actually going to start with some information about the program, give you an overview, let you know how to apply, and then we'll get to the really good stuff, which is hearing from panelists about their experience. So you all came today to hear about the mentorship program and what it is. So let's start with that. It is a yearly, every fall, application-based opportunity where we thoughtfully pair you with established creative professionals for a 10-week program, where, as we like to say, you can explore creativity, career, and life. So that we have some folks of past mentor-mentee groups, mentor-mentee pair in there in the middle, from some promo that we did, that the college did about the program. But let's dive into the basics. The mentorship program runs each fall term. Applications are due the term before, so that is the beginning of the Monday of summer week 5, which this year is going to be, I believe, June 16th. It is application based, so you do need to apply and be accepted, but it is open to all enrolled Art Center students, graduate and undergraduate. And you may be in your graduating term or taking an off term. We see an average of 90 student applications each cycle. And in the past few years, we've been able to accept about 30 students per program. So it is a competitive application. And we'll say more about that in a little bit. Mentor-mentee pairs are thoughtfully matched based on information that you provide in your application. So if you are accepted into the program, then we do the work of finding a mentor for you. And we really look at what you fill out in your application when we're looking for that person to find the right match for you. And it's important to keep in mind that the mentorship program is not a class and it's not an internship. It's not credit bearing. There's no way to get credit for it. It is a volunteer experience for both students and for the mentors. So that's kind of the overview of the program. Why should you apply? I think we put this at the top, but you get 10 weeks of one-on-one time with someone in your creative industry, in your creative area, a creative professional. And that one-on-one time is really valuable, and everything really grows out of that, including, guidance from someone who is in your desired field, who's interested in you and your creative future. You get feedback and discussion about your goals, about what you're thinking you want to do, what you're thinking you don't want to do, paths and opportunities available to you. And then you have the opportunity to develop new skills and grow your confidence and explore, new career strengths. And you get personalized feedback on your work and on your professional materials, your resume, your cover letter, well, usually resume and portfolio, not so much a cover letter. So those are some reasons to apply. And let's take a look at what the process looks like. You need to complete the application by summer of week 5, and we are not able to accept late applications. Then we let you know that if you have been accepted, we let you know. If you are not accepted, we will let you know. So everybody gets notified whatever happens. And that typically happens in late June, early July. And then we get to work matching you with a mentor. And we're usually able to let you know who accepted students know who their mentors are in late August, early September, but definitely by week 1 of the fall term. And in that time period there, late August, early September, we have a mentorship orientation for you to attend that really lets you know what to expect from the program and how to make it as successful as possible. We really want to set you up to succeed with this experience. And then in week 1, you meet your mentor, we introduce you via email, and you start your 10-week experience. And of course, you're going to hear about that experience from our panelists in just a little bit. So let's talk about the application. The application process involves a number of pieces. So you're going to be asked to upload your most up-to-date resume, which should give current information. We use these to learn more about you and your experiences. We highly recommend you use our resume resources, whether you're developing a new resume or you're updating your existing one. You can also have your resume reviewed by our office prior to submitting your application. And we have both one-on-one career advising appointments if you really need to dig in deep with somebody in person. And we have asynchronous resume review appointments where you get feedback in written form on the document of your resume. Then you need to provide a URL to your portfolio website showing up-to-date work. And this really helps us appropriately match you with a mentor. Mentors also look at your portfolios, and it can really help them say, yes, this is the kind of person that I could help, or they let us know that they're not the right mentor for a given student. We prefer a personal website, but you can use something like Behance or ArtStation or another kind of online portfolio site if you don't have your own website up and going. And we do not accept PDF portfolios, just so you know. We also have a portfolio website resource to assist you in either developing your personal website or refreshing your current one. So again, you can use our resources. You can reach out to us for help when you're putting this application together. And then we have 2 more parts of the application, some essay questions and your mentor preferences. And I'm going to talk about those in a little more detail. So these are, I'm not going to read them to you right now, but these are the application essay questions. And I really encourage you to read on our website, which I will share later on. On our website, there is a guide to applying. And the guide to applying really helps spell out what we're looking for in each question. So for example, tell us more about yourself. What are your interests, personal and professional? What type of work do you want to do? What art or design experiences have you had? So this is the second question, and it should share new information outside of your professional bio. And it should contain personal and professional interests, and it should connect you to how those interests have influenced your creative process. So all of these questions are laid out in great detail and with tips on what we're looking for in the application guide. And we also give you some hints on the application itself. So really, the essay questions are what sets your application apart. And it's really what helps us know that you are ready for the mentorship experience and that you know what you want to get out of it. And I am happy to answer questions about the essay questions at the end if anybody has them, but I don't want to walk through the whole application now because I want to get on to our panelists. And then the other thing you're going to be asked to do is to list 3 to 5 companies where your mentor might work and 5 professionals who would be an ideal mentor. Now, we use these lists to help us get a really clear picture of who you would like your mentor to be. And think about the specialities, the skill sets, the responsibilities you want your mentor to have. So for example, maybe you are interested in strategy and you want someone who is in a more senior position who's dealing with a lot of hiring and a lot of strategy because you want to learn about that part of the industry. Or maybe you want to start your own studio. And so ideally you want to meet with someone who's done some work launching a studio or who has worked for small studios, who can speak to that. And then you're going to list the ways that you want to engage with your mentor. This is a chance for you to do research, to figure out what kind of mentor would really be best for you. And I think it's also a really great chance for you to just dive in and see who's out there in your creative area, and see what people are working. We can't promise to match you with someone from your ideal list. We do have a mentor pool that we cultivate all year long of people who've said they want to be mentors, and they may not be people on your list. Excuse me. They may not be the people on your list, but they may be really great mentors. And because you've given us all this information, we can see that they would be a really good fit for you. So ideal mentors should be reasonable though, right? We can't get Steven Spielberg if you're in film, right? But that doesn't mean that we can't get someone who has a lot of great experience that you can learn from. So we also encourage you to think a little broadly here. If you're wanting to use the mentorship program to really explore what you want to do with your future, think about that. Think about being open to people outside maybe your top 5 companies. Think about the people that might be 5 years on from where you are right now. Some people actually request to have people who are earlier in their career because they really want fresh information about what the job search as a junior artist or designer is like. So that's why we ask you to do this research and this thinking and this daydreaming almost. It really helps us find the right mentor for you. All right, what is this experience like? We talk about 4 core areas of engagement, but I have 5 things on my list because it's all going to start with a meet and greet in week 1. And the purpose of this meeting is to establish a relationship and set out kind of your goals and your expectations for both of you for the next 10 weeks. So one of the key things that you're going to do with your mentor, one of those 4 core areas of engagement, is to identify goals. And we're going to actually ask, if you're accepted, we're going to ask you to identify 3 to 5 goals that you want to work on with your mentor so that you have those laid out before you meet them. And then these goals will help structure your meetings and allow you to track what you've learned. One of the key benefits that you get through mentorship is having someone share their work and to share their work with and obtain professional feedback. So this is your resume, your portfolio, website, projects that you're working on. And you really get, one-on-one feedback from someone who wants to support the next generation of creatives coming up in their area or their industry. And I think we'll probably hear some about this from our panelists about how helpful that was. You're going to get insight into industry. If you're local, you may even get to do a tour or go to an event or do some job shadowing. But if your mentor is virtual and maybe you're not in the same place and can't meet up, or maybe they're just really busy and they have time to meet you virtually but not in person every week, you're still going to get great insights into what it's like to work at the company that they're at, what it's like to do the kind of work that they do, and what it's like to see the other roles and jobs around them. So you're going to get a lot of insight into your industry from this. And then the last area of core area of engagement is around professionalism. So professionalism is kind of a vague term, but we mean things like, do you communicate clearly? Do you respect the mentor's time? Do you let them know if plans change or if something isn't working out? And we ask them at the end of the experience to comment on how you're doing in this regard and, if there's any areas for growth or improvement, which usually they're glowing about you all. But it's a good way just to kind of check like, oh, what might be expected of me in a job along those lines. I wanted to share that we have a mentorship badge. It's called Learning Through Mentorship. We have one for the mentors as well, but this one I want to highlight is for you as a mentee. It's issued by a company called Credly, and you can put it in places like your LinkedIn profile. You can note it on your resume. And basically, to complete the badge, you need to complete all of the regular expectations of the program. Plus, I think a career advising appointment and attending a creative careers event. And there might be one other thing. So it's not that hard to do if you're doing the whole program anyway. And then it's a cool thing that you get to share in your job search or in your job search materials with other folks. So that's just a little bit about the badge. Important dates. So the first important date is today. We are opening applications to the program after this program today. And you have until 5/16, which is the Monday of week 5 in summer, which is the deadline for student applications. And then usually in weeks 7 and 8, you find out if you were accepted or not into the program, and we start our mentorship outreach. We get to the end of summer, into those break weeks, we start introducing you to mentors via email. And then fall week 1, the mentorship program begins. And fall week 10, just before Thanksgiving, the mentorship program ends. And we usually do a little final celebration, which is a lot of fun as well. So where do you go to get all of this information? And that is to our mentorship program page on our website, which I'm going to put in the chat. And I do just want to do a call out to one of our panelists, Stephanie, who actually did a rebrand for our office this term and is responsible for the wonderful color bar that you see on the mentorship program website, where everybody in the office loves it. We're all quite excited about it. All right, I got through that in 20 minutes. Don't worry if that felt like a lot of information. We can definitely will have time for question and answer at the end, and everything that you need is on that website if you just follow the links. So at this point, I would like to welcome our panelists. And we pulled your LinkedIn photos, so I actually have photos of all of you. There we go. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but we have Stephanie with the googly eyes, and I love it, and Maurice, and Jared, and Owen. And something happened with my text boxes there. Sorry about that, Jared and Owen. Uh, so I am at this point going to stop sharing. And I am going to let the mentors start by introducing themselves and who their mentor was. And I am going to spotlight you all so we can see who all the panelists are in the room. And would somebody like to go first?
I can go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jared. I'm in illustration, just recently graduated this fall. My mentor was Brandon Piruccello. Should I introduce what he does?
Yeah, just briefly.
Okay. He's a senior concept artist and user interface designer. He's worked at Respawn Entertainment for, I believe, like 7 to 8 years. He's also done like freelancing for various other game studios.
Great. Owen, why don't you go next?
Um, Hi, my name's Owen, and I'm an illustration entertainment student, and I'm in my sixth term now. And I applied for the opportunity in my fourth term. And the mentor I got paired with is called Tom Mayocker, and he's a visual development artist who he used to work at Netflix as a background artist, but now he's working on the sequel to the Ninja Turtles movie. So yeah.
Great. Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I am a fifth term graphic design student, and my mentor was Janya Solinet, and she's an art director, graphic designer, and she also has a nonprofit project that showcases creative individuals from Thailand. So she also had design and a project that she was passionate about, and she works at Meta. But also her previous work experience included Apple. And that is about it.
Okay. And Maurice.
Hey, I'm Maurice. I'm in the graduate industrial design program, second term. I did my undergraduate at the School of Art Institute in Chicago, and then after working in industry a few years, I came back here and got paired with, or came back to school, came here at Art Center, and I got paired with Katerina Kopetina. She's an industrial designer. She started her own design consultancy in San Francisco in the Bay Area. And before that, she was a senior industrial designer at Fuse Projects, um, industrial design, creative consultant, digital strategy, branding agency up there. Yeah.
Great. Great. So my first question to you all, and don't feel like you all have to answer every question, but would love to hear from at least a couple of you each time. But what prompted you to apply?
I can start.
Okay.
We'll go around. I mean, for me, I'm definitely interested in getting my money's worth at Art Center. So pretty much any opportunity I'm going to take advantage of. I also came um, from like a freelance background for like a couple years, and I just really wanted to know more about what life after Art Center looks like. So that maybe also I could start kind of just thinking about companies I want to work for or how to kind of um, start showing my work and really the people that are living it. And I just also moved from New York. So I really wanted to know more people in the industry in Los Angeles. So that's why I applied.
Yeah, great. Go ahead, Owen.
Um, the main reason I applied was, or I found out about the opportunity because I actually had a friend who did the program the year before me. And so I kind of realized it was something I wanted to do. And I was in my fourth term, as I said. So I was kind of like finishing a lot of the foundational classes. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I had a lot of like anxiety about the industry and a lot of things I didn't really know. And so I thought it would be like a good opportunity to find someone who could advise me at that kind of like turning point in my education.
Yeah. Either of Jared or Maurice have anything to add?
My situation was similar. I had a friend recommend it to me and she made it sound really awesome. So that's like the main reason that I wanted to apply. And since I did my mentorship program during my eighth term, it was really just to like want to connect with people who are in the industry. So I kind of have like an idea of what like application process looks like and etc.
Mhm.
Yeah, and for me, like I mentioned, I finished undergrad and I was working in industry for a little bit, and I had all these questions about, okay, now that I'm working, what do I do with this? So I really wanted to take advantage of being in a graduate program and getting paired with somebody who's later down in their career to talk about these long-term strategy things, like how do I transition or set myself up to transition from just being an individual contributor to more like leadership and management roles, and um, how do I pivot that to starting my own consultancy, which I think for many of us who are creatives, that's definitely a goal. So yeah, I saw this opportunity. I didn't talk to anyone. I was just looking, like doing a little research into Art Center, and I saw this opportunity. I was like, this sounds almost too good to be true, but it wasn't. It was true, and it was very good, very helpful.
Great. Um, can some of you talk a little bit about what the application process was like? How you prepared? Any maybe tips you would give for somebody who's thinking about applying for fall? Yeah, go ahead, Owen.
So again, I basically was pretty early on, so I didn't have any professional materials together at all when I was applying initially. So I had to create my portfolio website from scratch, and it was my first like art specific resume. But it was really helpful to do that, and I used Adobe Portfolio, which a lot of students have access to because they're already paying for the Adobe suite or whatever it's called. And I basically got all of those materials reviewed by the career department a couple times, and I got rid of some embarrassing typos on my resume and stuff. But yeah, the questions itself are really important. And I think it's really important to really thoroughly read what each question is asking for you of you. And I think I spent like a week and a half on those. And I also went to Eilish at the career department to talk through each question. Yeah.
Right. Heads nodding.
Yeah, I think it's also important, like for me, I kind of just took a second, like school is so demanding and I feel like I'm so in it that like, what do I want for my future? And I can be as like, it helped for me to be really specific because I had that idea. But also, if you don't know, it's kind of like, I'm interested in working at a large company or I'm interested in working as, it can be as general or specific as you want. But I think really taking like a second to think about what like I envision my future and like why I'm at Art Center, I think really helped to get paired with the right person.
Mhm. Yeah.
I agree. I think I did a lot of like self introspection on like what I really wanted from myself because I think that it's very easy, like Stephanie mentioned, like to just be trudging through Art Center, not really seeing like or preparing for like what comes after. I think I the application process overall though was pretty straightforward. I think I just met with someone from CPD and they were able to go through my questions and they made it very like streamlined for me.
Great.
Yeah, and I'll just add one piece, and I think Stephanie kind of touched on it, like being clear on what kind of support you need and where you're at. I would say that was really helpful for getting me paired up with the right person in the industry. And also say like use this opportunity to challenge the way you think about things, not just like hard skills and portfolio and all the things that are really important, but sort of like mindset and like coming like developing curiosity for like the unknown of what the industry holds. I think that's yeah, I think yeah, getting clear on that and getting help on that.
Great, great. Well, let's dive into what this looked like. So, tell me a little bit about how your mentor meetings went. How often did you meet? Were you virtual or in person? What were some of those basics like?
The mentor meetings we had were pretty much every week as long as we're both available, because like sometimes we have to reschedule if there's like an important project, or like say I have a final that's due or something like that. Our final meeting we did meet in person though, because he was local. That's kind of how it looked like for me. The first half though, we kind of focused on like me asking questions about him. So it's like I wanted to learn more about his experiences and what he was doing. And then maybe towards the second half, it was more about like my work and like what areas I wanted to work on and gain like more insight for that.
Somebody else.
I'll go. So I met with my mentor from weeks 1 through 14, and typically they would be like an hour-long meeting, but sometimes they go on for like 2.5 hours. He was pretty like generous with his time when he wasn't too busy. And I was doing my mentorship in a full term, so I wasn't able to kind of conduct some big personal project, but I would bring in my work every week and get feedback. And we started off with a portfolio review. That was kind of the beginning. And I think for a lot of people, that's the first thing they do with their mentor. And then the next week, he was showing me his portfolio and explaining his journey. And he also went to Art Center. So that was kind of a point we could both relate to. And yeah, it was really helpful to kind of talk to someone every week, and he would put me onto all of these artists that he likes. And we met online for most weeks, but then right in the middle and right at the end, we met in person because he's also local, which was nice. It's definitely a different experience to meet with someone in person. It's if you've just been looking at them through a Zoom screen, it's kind of like meeting them for the first time again, but it's a little bit more casual after a while too. So it was a really good experience to meet online and in person.
Yeah. Stephanie, what did your meetings look like?
So we also met every week, and it started in person for the first couple weeks, which was really nice. And then I would say for then maybe like the next 6 or 7 weeks, any questions I had. So what we kind of went over were everything from I was interested about internships, like great interview questions, like the basics. And then I really was curious about having to review my portfolio. So we worked on that, and then also resume. And then I want to say whatever remaining weeks, maybe 4 or 5. She was so generous with her contacts, and most of them were Art Center alums. She basically just sent an email of the three of us, like, here, Stephanie's curious about this, meet with her. And so for the last 4 weeks, I checked in with her, but I also met with a bunch of people from different companies and got to ask them questions.
That's great. And you, Maurice?
Yeah, we met every week unless something came up for about an hour virtually. We still haven't met in person, which we have planned whenever I go up to the Bay Area. But we started with updates on what we talked about last week. Um, we didn't do so much um, like task-based things around projects, but more like strategy and personal branding. And a lot of that came from questions that I drove about like what is effective networking? How do you set yourself up so that you work with the people that you vibe with and that you're taking on the types of roles and jobs that align with like who you are. So a lot of it was yeah, like personal branding, strategy, networking stuff. So every week she'd give me some tasks, do some soul searching, and I'd come back and we'd go from there.
Great. Great. Um, I would love to hear specific examples of how your mentorship helped you. And feel free to repeat something that you said, if you feel that that's what was really most helpful, but just, one thing that was really helpful to you.
I can kick it off. Just something popped into mind. The when Katya was sharing about how she started, she created a personal project that eventually turned into a business, but it sort of captured everything that she could about herself, about what she cares about. So for her, it was like sustainability, storytelling, simplicity, and she shared with me how she went after school to creating such a product and how she leveraged it to meet other people, get connected with other cross disciplinary professionals like architects and interior designers and things like this, and how just like one small personal project, you just need one good one, and if that encompasses who you are, can really set the trajectory for your life and your career. And so I took sort of that model as a framework and started thinking about how I can start to do that or what that might look like for me. And I'll say, like in the last, yeah, what 3 months since the mentorship ended, it's been pivotal, opportunities, and just like what she called warm connections. It's just like vibing out people, making sure you're connecting with the right people. That perspective really specifically helped.
Great.
I think for me, it was my biggest takeaway was being able to work with someone where I trusted her vision and experience because she very much is doing what I want to do and I'm learning at school. So I think she's also a former student, so she knows how we work at Art Center. So pretty much like any advice, specifically with like resume or portfolio, I really valued because she also has jobs at companies that I would like to work for. So that's kind of super invaluable to me.
Great.
For me, I feel like there's two main things which are really valuable from the experience. One of them was that I'm kind of naturally pretty nervous about presenting my work to people, and so talking about your work for extended periods of time to someone whose opinion you really value for 14 weeks is naturally going to make you stronger at that. And my mentor is also super supportive as well. And so it definitely built a lot of confidence. And then since the mentorship, there's been I applied for an opportunity and I heard back. And in that moment, it was really nice to obviously the career department is there if you want to get help with an interview or anything like that. But it was nice to have someone who really knows me specifically, who I could reach out to in that moment and get his feedback and get his help. And so that was really great.
Great. So you're still in touch.
Yes, yeah, we met 2 times since the mentorship in person.
Nice. And Jared, what was a key learning thing for you?
I think it was very good timing for me to meet with them because they were actually in the process of applying for a senior position at Blizzard. So I actually was able to see like what did the art test look like. And they were also able to like guide me what usually the people are hiring are thinking because they at Respawn they were also the ones who he was also the one who came up with the art test for like junior artists. So it's kind of like okay, I kind of have like this backdoor information that like the studios would kind of like want to see from junior artists that are like applying in the industry. I think also just to touch up on like Owen's point, I think also I felt very much so the same way in regards that it was really confidence boosting having to like talk to them about like this kind of work, especially since um my mentor in my eyes is like someone who I aspire to be very similar to, right? Because now they're like a senior working at like a big company. I think that it's very easy to kind of want to listen to kind of like everything they have to say to you because I felt like I valued their opinion a lot.
Great. Well, I'm just going to ask one more question, and this is kind of open-ended, but what if you could share one further thing with people who are thinking about applying, about your experience? What would you share?
Okay, so part of me is like, why not? You know, like an hour a week and being paired with somebody that's really successful and creative. For the most part, I've heard nothing but positive experiences from other mentees that aren't even here today. But I think for me, it's kind of the idea I never know what it's going to lead to. And it got me also more connected to creative careers, and I ended up getting a job doing a rebrand through them because I didn't even know that much about this department. And I got to meet a lot of different people. So it's kind of also, I didn't know, we never know what things are going to lead to, and getting connected at Art Center in a bunch of different areas is always a win. So yeah, thanks.
Go ahead, Owen.
I'd say like even beyond how great of an opportunity the mentorship is, actually just going through the application was super duper helpful for me. Again, like I made all these professional materials, and answering the questions felt a lot like practicing for applying for a real job opportunity. And so even if you don't get the opportunity, I just think going through the whole process is super valuable, and getting feedback on all of your material as well.
Great. Maurice.
Yeah, I can echo what both Stephanie and Owen said. Like, why not? And even going through the process is super helpful. I applied 2 years. I didn't get accepted the first year, and then I wound up deferring my enrollment in Art Center anyway, so it worked out. But luckily, it lined up. But yeah, just um, the questions that they ask about the mentorship, I had never thought about asking myself, or even the part about just looking to see who's in industry and who you would like to mentor. I think that process, even going through that and doing some critical thinking, yeah, really helpful.
Cool. And Jared.
I think not to repeat what everyone said, but I think honestly my advice is just like just apply. Like I mean, I think my only wish is that I could apply again because I only really heard about it like my seventh term. So I really only had the one time to apply. I think my experience was like I don't know how else to like gas it up. It was really awesome. I feel like unironically it was like super life-changing for me. I think I was very like I felt super fortunate to be able to be matched with the person I was because they were very like helpful, not only my career, but also like personally, like me as a human being. I think they also helped me grow a lot too. Um, I think that is what how I personally feel about it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, at this point, I am going to stop the recording and we're going to open it up for questions.